Now beginning transmission 144. Rat Queens. File Girls Who Kick Ass.
Come on, you fuckers think that just because a guy reads comics he can't learn shit? I'll fucking take all you want!
Welcome to this week's episode of the Funny Books and Firewater Podcast.
面白い本と歌手ポッドキャストの今週のエピソードへようこそ。
Ignore her. She drinks.
Each week a motley band of comic readers / amateur bartenders attempt to pair cocktails with comic books.
毎週漫画の読者の雑多なバンドはスラッシュアマチュア入札しようと漫画とペアカクテルバーです。
All while trying to not sound like complete morons in the
すべ
process.
ての中にしようとして音ではないような完了プロセスで低能です。
Kind of like a speakeasy kind of thing. It's kind of cool.
You can find these idiots on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.
Facebook、Twitter、Instagram や Tumblr にこれらのバカを検索できます。
No, what? You read too many comic books.
We now join Brian, Jeremiah, Adam, and Todd.
They're used to curious sights which they attribute to alcoholic delusions. They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
I'm too sober for this shit. Here is a drinking game to play while you listen to this episode. Please drink responsibly, and don't take it too seriously. And if you don't like it, blame William.
Take a drink anytime Mr. Porg decides to interject himself into the conversation. Shut up, Porg.
You need to take a drink anytime Manny Bothands makes an appearance, and I get groans and fuck yous from Adam and Maya.
Fuck Manny Bothan!
Manny Bothan is pure genius. Take a drink anytime someone refers to me as the cum dumpster.
Take a drink every time the shame bell makes an appearance.
Also, take a drink anytime we act like the member berries from South Park. Remember when they were on South Park?
I remember.
Yeah, and take a drink every time we do the bad German accent, yeah.
Ah, drink, fucker!
If you have any suggestions for rules you would like to add, email us at funnybooksandfirewater@gmail.com or use the contact link on our website, funnybooksandfirewater.com.
Tooraloo-raloo-ra.
I think this is 44? 144?
Sure, let's go with that one.
Yeah,
Wow.
I believe this is 144. So,
We're
hey,
gonna
welcome
hit
to...
3 years soon. Good grief.
We're still a couple months away, but by the time Fan X comes around, it will be 3 years, basically.
Yeah.
Because we started in April, but...
Okay, I interrupted, so let's try again.
No, it's okay. I'll leave that in there because we can't start without an interruption or some weird side note going on beforehand anyway. That's sort of how it always works.
Well, what number episode is this?
144, I believe.
Yeah, so we got exactly 3 months.
3
Well, yeah,
months.
because we started in April, though. So.
Oh, yeah, because we're ahead now, because this will come out in January.
Yes,
So
exactly.
we have 3 months of 12 weeks. Or 12
This isn't
episodes.
live?
Fuck it, let's do it live.
No, I need time to edit you, bastard. But, hey...
I made you out. Oh,
You're welcome.
damn it.
Okay, anyway, I don't know what that was, but we're going to move forward. Pressing forward. Blindly into the dark. Hey, welcome to episode 144 of the Funny Books and Firewater podcast. This week we are continuing on our month of Girls Who Kick Ass, which I realized I said Girls Who Kicked Ass, and I picked Girls Who Kick Ass because it's for Todd's little girl. But
Right.
then when we get into other books, that doesn't feel like the most PC title. You know what I mean? Like when we get to Captain Marvel, I'm like, I feel a little weird about calling it Girls Who Kick Ass, but so it's what we're going with. Just realize that we understand the issue with that. And I'm sorry for those of you who are offended, because I understand entirely. It may not have been the best move, but that's okay.
Panel intro.
So we will have our whole group here with us today, which is awesome. We will start out with the chooser of this week's book, Mr. Jason.
Hi there. I'm Jason, unemployed writer in Los Angeles, and I am sadly not a girl who kicks ass.
You know what, though? If you tried, you could be. There's
Thank
nothing
you.
says you're not.
Thank you.
You know?
I will try my best then.
You could be
You're
a lady
just-
who kicks ass.
I mean, or you could be a boy who kicks ass if you want to be that too. You can be whatever you want. We'll support you, however.
I think that should be the theme of the month.
You can be whatever you want. Kick ass however you deem fit.
There you go.
Kicking ass however he deems fit. We also have the father of the inspiration of this month's books. Yes, that was right. We have Mr. Todd.
Hi, I'm Todd. I am a guy who wipes baby's ass.
Congratulations.
So this is a new thing.
Do you put the baby in the corner?
No, she goes on the table.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
No.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Adam.
Well, I'd let Adam do that part.
Where do you think she is while he's here recording?
Just sitting in the corner.
He draws a circle on the wall and makes her put her nose on it until he gets back.
Just leave it right there, You know, I saw a kid's play pack was way too expensive, but a dog kennel was much cheaper. I'm like, they're the same thing.
You know, the government thought the same thing too.
Yes, except they charge more per night to have there than staying at a Trump hotel. Yeah, I'm Todd. I'm here in Salt Lake. Find me here in real life. Recently a new dad as an old man, so we'll see how this goes.
As opposed to a nude ad.
A nude ad.
Well, Tumblr's gone now, so...
So, no, they just took off the porn. It's still there.
No, it's gone.
It's gone. Although they're not that good at it because there's still porn on there if you look for it hard, so...
That's what she said.
That's right. Anything.
Or he said.
Or he said.
They said.
They said.
That's what they said.
That
doesn't sound as good, though.
That's what they said.
Hey, we're not
But then it's just an orgy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
I
how my
understand
grandma
not assigning
died.
gender, but that just doesn't sound right. Maybe it's just because I've been indoctrinated by The Office. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway.
That's me.
Okay, cool. That's what he said. We have Mr. Adam.
Hey everyone, this is Adam with a Big Shiny Robot. Also occasionally on the Bored as Hell podcast with Andy Wilson.
Hi, Andy.
And you can find me over on Cinema Queens with our good friend Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And we're recording this in December and we're doing John Waters month. And we did a John Waters film last week that pissed me off more than Mother, Emoji Movie, or Love the Coopers did. So
Really?
Ooh,
Yeah.
what's the movie?
It's Desperate Living, and it just absolute complete dog shit with like borderline child pornography in it. So it was. If you want to go if you want to go listen to it, it's called "Who Is She?" is the name of the episode. And if you want to hear me rant and rave about a movie, that's where you can do
terrible.
that. And then you can also find me over on Twitter at @sithbot_. That's SITHBOT_. I've kind of been on a Facebook hiatus for a while, and I may not bring it back. So Twitter's been more interesting lately.
Okay.
So, and then, of course, over curating our Grindr, Scruff, and Tights with a Z account.
Good man. Someone's got to do it.
Exactly.
Going on all those dates on Tights with the Z for us, we have Mr. Maya.
Hey, I'm Maya. This is what I do. You can catch me here on this podcast that you're listening to. So you already knew that. You can also find me on Twitter at Mr. Maya or Instagram at the Mr. Maya, or follow my cat on either and at It's the Jonesy. And my brain is not working.
Oh, that's perfect for a podcast. This will be fun.
Yes.
Pick on Maya Day. Hooray! Pick on Maya. Hey, and I'm Brian. I'm a sound designer based out of Southern California. I am going to be designing 3 shows for the Lyric Rep this summer: Raisin in the Sun, Claiborne Park, and Murder for 2. And I have other things in the works that may be going on. And yeah, there might be some things by the time this comes out. I might know more about other things happening. But yeah, also whether I'll be there as a panelist or a guest, or not a guest, I'll probably be there as a guest and or a panelist. But I'll probably just go there to hang out as well. I will be at Fan X if anybody wants to come say hi. So, and I'll probably drag Todd with me at least one day.
Oh yeah.
Because he uses my free passive. I'm a guest. Because my mom buys her own passive. Yep. Which is cool. That's how it goes.
That's what I do.
So I'm currently in the submission stages for panels. So we'll see if any of mine get picked up or if I get put on anybody else's. So we'll see how that all goes. But I'll be around. So come say hi. Love to meet people. I'm in a very good social place right now. So I want to say hi to people, which is very bizarre and weird for me because I'm normally a person who's very happy the fact that I'm sitting here alone in a room talking into a microphone to my best friends who are all at least 500 miles away. Actually, you're not 500 miles away,
No.
Jason. How?
Yeah.
You're probably like 30 miles away.
Yep.
But that means you're the same amount of hours away.
Yes.
That's true
Yeah.
because it is LA. It's the same kind of job. It's like I could drive to Salt Lake and visit people, or I could drive to LA, and it feels like it's the same damn thing.
There you go.
Book intro.
This week we are doing Rat Queens, which is, I kind of gotta say, it's great and it's fun. I don't want to spoil much of it, but the cover of it very much looks like an old Dungeons and Dragons cover, which I thought was actually pretty funny and pretty interesting. But it is about a group of badass girls who are sort of not necessarily the most easy to get along with in this small town, and they get sent out on a quest. And then shenanigans arise from this quest. They basically set them on a quest to try to keep them from destroying the town. Does that seem like a fair enough assessment?
Yeah, it's a good start.
Myification.
So, Mr. Todd, what is the myification for this book? Oh, it actually has one on the back of it because it's an image book.
Go with that.
Well, do you want to tell me, or do you want, you don't have the book in front of you, don't you? I got you. Well, do you want to make up one of your own? I want to see what your own is.
He doesn't want to make up one.
I want to put him on the spot. Come on,
Thank
dance,
you.
monkey,
I had to
dance.
think for this for all right. Hold on here. So
Dance, monkey, dance.
Dungeon crawl above ground. The
Dungeon crawl above ground. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's
Sure,
fun.
that works.
That works. We'll go with that.
The back of the book says fantasy and mature humor, which I always like the phrase mature humor because it's very, very rarely actually
Right.
Mature humor. It's like dick and fart jokes. Is that mature humor? I don't know.
No. Mature
very good.
humor is the stuff you read in like those cartoons in the New Yorker that no one really totally gets. That's mature humor. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay. That fell flat. Thanks for that.
No problem.
Drinking game.
So let's jump into drinking games because I'll drink away my embarrassment of my joke falling completely dead flat. Mr. Adam, what is your drinking game rule?
Mine is, do I make you horny, baby? Anytime the characters reference a sex act or sexual genitalia, take a drink.
Nice.
Okay. Mine is language, which is every time they swear, take a drink. That's actually a fairly evil one.
Yes, that is.
Mr. Jason, what is your drinking game rule?
Mine is also evil. It's called That'll Wash Out. Drink whenever there's bloodshed.
Oh, nice. Mr. Maya.
Mine's similar. It's called It's Only a Flesh Wound. Anytime there's an appendage or a head lobbed off or someone is split in half.
Oh, wow. Okay. And Mr. Todd.
Mine is Betty, can you hear me? Every time you take a look at Betty and go, what big ears she has. Go ahead and take a drink.
And I actually have a second one. Just because I didn't love this book, I didn't hate it, but my second game is called... Well, I'll tell you the game first. If you find yourself like me getting kind of bored with it, just tell yourself, and the name of the game is, at least it's not Deadpool Max. Take a drink.
And sadly, I'm writing that down to actually put that on the list. I will someday outlive that. I was actually talking to Jason about my embarrassment about that book already. Okay.
Just need to wait for the next person to do the...
I know. I keep waiting for one. We can put Fear of God into Jason. Well, so...
Validity votes.
Mr. Maya, since apparently you weren't a huge fan, let's jump into votes as to whether or not we believe that it is worth you, our dear listeners, hard-earned time, money, and effort to listen, or not to listen, to read this book. Mr. Maya, what's your vote?
So I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. If you want something to read and you're kind of gone through the list of everything else we've recommended, sure, go ahead. But I wouldn't throw it at the top of your stack.
I disagree. I actually like this book, and I actually bought the next 2 volumes recently to read it. But so I say yes. Mr. Todd, what is your vote?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I went ahead and bought the hardcover, so I guess it's the first 2 trades as a book.
Hashtag fancy fuck.
Dude, the pinky is in the air.
Yeah, snobby.
Snobby here, but no, it was a fun book. I enjoyed reading it. It was a good time. So
cool.
yes.
Mr. Adam.
Definitely yes. I had a lot of fun with it, and I went in completely blind, knowing nothing. I honestly thought it might have been about like rats that were alive and doing like D&D campaigns, and I wasn't expecting this.
In the sewers of Brooklyn.
Splinters, feudal Japanese ancestors.
Well, there's a board game out called of Mice and Mystics, and it's kind of like it's a game where you go on, you level
You
up.
get to pet the bunnies.
I don't know, but you actually do start.
That's a dark reference, man.
Jesus. You play as like I think it's like the Kingsguard were turned into mice, and so as you venture through, it's kind of cool because the board, when you get to like a mouse hole, it flips the whole board over, so you actually can go into the walls and out and stuff, and you're trying to like fight these bad guys. So that's what first popped in my head when I heard Rat Queens.
Okay, and Mr. Jason, you recommended this, so I can guess what your vote is. But what is your vote?
Yeah, I'm going to recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely not a perfect story. I've got my own issues with it, but if you like Dungeons and Dragons, if you like some violent action, and if you like a lot of people just bitching at each other, it's a lot of fun.
Playlist.
Well, then let's jump into Set the Mood. We're going to have a little bit of a, playlist for you to throw together on your Spotify and listen to while reading this book. I'm going to save you for last, Adam, because I'm really jealous of your pick. I think it's
because you were like, damn, I should have done with that one. So
because it's fucking good, so I'm leaving you for last. Jason, what is your song for the playlist?
Mine is Monster Hospital by Metric.
Monster Hospital?
Mm-hmm. It's on their Live It Out album.
And Todd, what is yours?
It's Devil by Shinedown.
I'm not familiar with that song, by the way.
It's a newer track from their most recent album. So
okay, mine's probably going to be one of the most mellows, but it's called "This Is Why We Fight" by the Decemberists. Mr. Maya, what is your playlist song?
Mine is "Bad Girls" by MIA.
And then Mr. Adam, because I'm fucking jealous of this choice. I wish it was mine. What is yours?
"Bad Reputation" by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Nice, good. A fucking good choice. Damn it.
And actually, I'll kind of give some credit to Maya and Sierra for this because they were talking about Ronda Rousey when I was trying to think of a song, and that's like her music on WWE. So
yeah,
Brian, you could have done "I Love Rock and Roll," the Britney Spears cover.
You shut your whore mouth. No.
What's really interesting about that was we just recorded Cinema Queens before we did this, and we were talking about Britney Spears on that episode.
It's in the water right now, man. Who knows what's up?
Final warnings.
Cool. So do we have any final warnings for people before we send them off to go read this book?
I do have. That's true. I do have one. It's not actually about the book itself, but it's about the folks behind it. The artist Rock Upchurch was actually arrested for domestic violence against his wife. So there is that sort of dark cloud hanging over it. He was later replaced after issue 8, I believe. And there was still some weird stuff after one of the replacement writers sort of got wind that he might have been coming back onto the show, onto the book. But it's definitely there. So if you have a problem with that, then that's what you got.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Wow, this has gotten dark.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's good to know. And anybody else have any last minute warnings?
No, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Then we will take a little bit of a break and give you, our dear listeners, a chance to go and read this book. And when you come back, just be prepared. We're going to spoil the living shit out of it. So we will see you on the flip side.
If you have yet to read this week's book and would like to read it now, press pause. Go ahead. We'll wait.
Hi, we're Rebecca and Charity. We get together every once in a while to talk about food and our mental health journeys.
Join us on Spoonful of Podcast as we discuss such compelling subjects as
cinnamon rolls,
depression, European Twinkies,
ADHD,
what's a kolashi,
and more. Tune in every 2 weeks to follow along with the tasty podcast for the healthily mental.
Subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts to hear us every other week.
A proud member of the Hello Sweetie Podcast Network.
Okay, in case I didn't cut all that shit out. Hey, and welcome back. I might have left that all in. I don't know.
Future Brian.
Hey, Future Brian.
Were you or were you not an interesting asshole?
Exactly. Believe me, I make that call a lot. Sometimes it gets cut, sometimes it doesn't. The other big thing I've started to notice is because I have to edit these, I'm getting a little bit better of not saying all the time. That's the other thing I've been working on, but that's
actually one of the fun things with editing my own podcast is I'm just looking at like the audio lines. I can tell when someone's saying because I know the shape of it now, so I guess don't cut it out really fast.
Yep. There's weird things like that you pick up. Like there's very interesting things. I know all sorts of weird little audio tweaks about like all of you that I'm not gonna tell you because I told Todd once, and then he got really self-conscious about it, and then he developed different audio.
I know, but hey, it's about getting better and tweaking it. Just tell me, and then I'll just stop
talking.
Yeah, no, it's
stop
talking at all. If you ever listen to yourself recorded 144 times, you would start to become very conscious of how you say things.
How are you still friends with us?
I was the same way when I did customer service. Had a phone job, and anytime we'd like listen to my calls, I was like, "Who is this guy? He sounds stupid."
Yeah. I remember when I was a Sprint PCS collections agent a whole 16 years ago, 18 years ago now.
Wow, has it been that long?
And I know, right?
Okay.
So I answered the phone because when there was landlines in your college apartment, one day I answered the phone and says, "Thank you for holding. This is Todd." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. Let's try again." Hi. I think it's about time that I move on to something different.
Maybe do a different gig.
Do a different gig. Yes.
Well, cool. So I'm going to get real brief about this summary, but if there's anything else that I catch and I miss, by all means, let me know.
Plot summary.
So basically what we start out with is we have the Rat Queens, which is this group of women.
Betty,
they're all at the beginning of the book.
Dee, Hannah,
Are they
and
all at
Violet.
the very beginning? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There we
Plus,
go, Betty.
on Betty's, I do like the drink mixture that they list there: tequila, vodka, and 2 magic mushrooms. They call it the Betty.
Yeah. So Betty is a little badass with 2 swords. Dee is my parents worshipped a giant flying squid. Holidays get weird. Hannah is I've conjured a little fuck you. And Violet is I know my sword is designer. I use it ironically. Anyway, those are the Rat Queens at the very beginning. So they're in this little town, and they are basically raising hell, having bar fights and whatnot. And the kingdom decides that they're going to send them and a few of the other troublemakers out on a quest to try and basically get them out of town. Well, while they're out on that quest, an assassin comes and tries to kill them. So they meet back up with the other groups that went out for quests and finds out that the assassins tried to kill them as well. And so they figure out that someone is out there trying to kill them. So at about the same point in time, the town ends up getting attacked, and the Rat Queens and the rest of her people band together to fight against it. And they also discover that, what is that girl's name? Betty keeps calling her
Old Lady Bernadette.
Old Lady Bernadette, who's only 30-something. But Old Lady
39.
Bernadette is butthurt about the Rat Queens causing trouble, and so she's actually the one that set them up to be assassinated. That's the general gist of it. Is that correct? Did I miss anything else? Anything totally huge that I totally missed?
Analysis.
I'm now opening it up for discussion. I think I've given the general gist of what the book is. We'll open it up for discussion. So, Jason, what leads into the next stuff? What do you think also needs to
So what you find out is that Old Lady Bernadette was sort of set up by, a representative from the Merchants Guild, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot about that section.
Yeah, Braga, or not Braga, but Garrig. And so you find out that Garrig is actually the one behind all of this stuff in town and trying to get rid of the mercenaries. And it's all in an effort to get at the head of the Knights, or the City Watch, called Sawyer, because apparently Sawyer murdered Garrig's wife long ago. So he's trying to seek revenge for that.
And Garrig also has sort of a relationship with which one of the Rat Queens?
Sawyer has a relationship with Hannah.
Hannah, that's who it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's like they used to date. They still kind of hook up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, main thoughts? Anybody have something they want to jump in on?
Like I said, I walked in completely blind, having no clue what this was, and it was just a lot of fun. It was kind of like watching a D&D campaign play out in front of you, and how everything gets fucked up, and then the weird shit happens, and people have magic, and then they do this, and there's all different races. You got like your elf, your halfling. So it felt like it was just very much an homage to a D&D campaign, just with these badass women who weren't afraid to have fun, have sex, be naughty, say dirty things, and just kind of celebrate being a mercenary. So I think it was just fun that it was women being badasses.
Cool. Todd, what are your thoughts?
For me, I never played a lot of D&D. For Brian, for all the nerdy things you and I did, we didn't do that much.
We never played D&D. No, we did not.
So there's that gaping hole. But you and I did watch. I was quite the anime head for a while.
Yeah.
And for me, this one's actually really reminiscent of Black Lagoon, if anyone's ever watched that one.
I've heard of it, but...
So it's a whole lot of fun. It's got a very similar vibe to it, and you just have... And I don't like the statement as it's a bunch of women behaving like men type of video, but it's the... it's a bunch of people that are doing what they want regardless of the social standings, is what you're watching here, and they're getting stuff done. So I really enjoyed it. The artwork for me was a whole lot of fun. You can tell it's all very digital work here and there. I mean, they spend half the time they take the backgrounds and they make it all like they're doing a rack focus pull on it. So you've got these main characters in clarity, and everything is very soft and fuzzy in the background. Sometimes, but not all the time. But it almost feels like, and I don't know this, was this it felt like it was like a digital release first type of video?
No, it came out in issues.
It came out in issues?
It did eventually become a webcomic, though.
But it's got quite the webcomic kind of feel to it. But it's I really enjoyed this. I had a had a lot of fun. It was just one thing. It's just I'm wondering if I missed some stuff by not being as familiar with the D&D tropes.
Yeah, and I think there might be some inside jokes with the D&D tropes that I think I also missed. I agree with you on that. But having no D&D background, I still enjoyed it.
But
I still thought it was fun. Here's the thing: is I'm not even really a fantasy fan for the most part. Like, I've gone and seen the Lord of the Rings movie with Todd because he dragged me, but I'm not a huge fan of them. It's just, I don't know. Outside of Harry Potter, sword and sorcery doesn't typically interest me, but this one I actually found very satisfying and very fun. It wasn't totally what I would consider my normal bag of tricks. It wasn't something I would normally go for, but I actually really quite enjoyed it. Mr. Maya, you had some issues. What's your thoughts?
It was fun while I was reading it, but by the time I got to the end, I realized that I didn't really remember much that happened to it. Like, it was forgettable to me. Like, the only character whose name I remembered was Betty, and that's probably because it got said the most in the book, and she was probably the best character. But yeah, just for me, like I said, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but almost, a lot of the time that can end up being worse is if it didn't really leave any impression on you. To me, it also kind of had what I usually gripe about with Mark Miller books, which is funny because when we did the Mark Miller books last year, none of those books had that problem. But books like Kick-Ass and Nemesis and stuff like that, it seemed like, you guys know me. You know I curse up a storm. But in comics, when the script is written and it seems like they're cursing for the sake of cursing, like, to me, it just kind of throws me out like, oh, they're saying fuck because it sounds like it's going to be cool here. Or, oh, cool, they said cunt. They wrote it probably just because they could. Like, it... I don't know. That just kind of bothered me. It seemed like that they were just trying to, as far as language went, be edgy for the sake of being edgy. But yeah, no, I mean, it was fun, but for me, ultimately unforgettable. Or forgettable, not unforgettable.
Okay.
I actually completely agree with that dialogue note, because while I did enjoy it overall, for me, a lot of the writing in the first few issues, it tapers off towards the end, and it does get a little bit better in the second volume. But he does try to shock you with the language and the overused curses and the bickering between all of the rat queens. There is a lot of vulgarity just for the sake of vulgarity, and it just feels like he's trying too hard sometimes. It often felt... Sorry, go ahead.
In the movie Departed, you've got Mark Wahlberg's character. And talk about... for me, that's the epitome of walking vulgarity. Just this...
Not Joe Pesci and Goodfellas?
For whatever reason, Mark Wahlberg and Departed just had...
That's the whole, I'm the guy who fucking does his job, you must be the other fucking guy.
You must be the other fucking guy. It's like... And it's really hard to walk that line to be extremely profane and have it fit. That's kind of the deal.
Well, going back to my example, like, to me, Joe Pesci and Goodfellas, it fit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it just didn't feel organic or natural. It just felt, and at least in this book, it just felt like, oh, I can say fuck here.
Well, what's funny you bring that up is that I mentioned that the movie we reviewed last week, Desperate Living, if you've ever seen any of John Waters' films, with the exception of Hairspray, they're all, the nicest ones are rated R. And, he started off doing, like, the midnight movies, the very shocking cinema. And if you look at all of his stuff, it's always an indictment of something. Like Pink Flamingos is an indictment of, the heteronormative society and people who think sexuality should be repressed. But the thing that I didn't like about Desperate Living was the same thing we're saying about this. Like, I didn't see it quite as much as Maya did, because there was too much swearing. There was like, we're just going to say fuck because we can. But yeah, it was like, we're just doing stuff trying to be offensive, and there's no point to it. Like, if you're trying to be offensive but you're trying to make a point about something, I am totally down for that. Like, we can look at the movie Blazing Saddles, which uses the N-word more than any other movie ever made. But Mel Brooks is making the point that racism is bad, and if you are a racist, you're a fucking idiot.
Also, co-written but not credited by Richard Pryor.
He's credited. He's credited.
I thought he wasn't.
Yeah, but no, we'll get back to that. Go ahead and finish your thought. I got a weird, useless fact about that.
Yeah, so I mean, if there's profanity or if there's crass language or sexuality used to make a point, I'm fine with that. Unless if you go in knowing it's a farce and knowing that this is purposely over the top, like Kick-Ass is, like, even the movie is purposely over the top.
Yeah,
you're going and looking for a comic book movie. I didn't have as much of a problem with this, but I can definitely see where Maya's coming from, where it's like, okay, I get it. What the word cunt means.
I was going to say, and you know me. Language does not bother me.
Right.
one bit.
Yeah, it was almost. I mean, it was almost to the point in this book. It was like when little kids learn how to cuss when they don't know how to cuss yet, so they're just saying fuck as much as they can. And it's like, oh, give yourself 2 years, and you'll know what you're saying. So
yeah, sure.
A lot of this for me also felt like someone had started to write a really cheesy slasher movie where you introduce all of the main best friends at the beginning of the movie, but in order to introduce them, for whatever reason, the more inexperienced writer will often just have them rib on each other constantly, just to show that, hey, they're close friends, they can trash on each other all the time, when it just feels forced and unnatural. So, and that's part of what I got a sense of in the first few issues.
It's interesting. I understand what you're saying because I've seen that before, but I've never actually pieced that together.
Yeah.
Oh, but my useless little factoid for you is I watched an interview with Mel Brooks about Blazing Saddles, and they mentioned Richard Pryor, and they asked what kind of jokes he wrote. He goes, everyone thinks he wrote all the racist jokes, but the truth was he wrote most of the Mongo stuff. Like, Mongo only pawn in Game of Life was Richard Pryor's joke.
No, don't shoot him.
You'll just make him angry.
Yeah, so apparently Richard Pryor thought Mongo was hilarious, and that was his favorite character to work
Honestly, who doesn't think Mongo's hilarious?
That's true. That's
Idiots.
Candygram for Mongo.
Candygram for Mongo.
Cool. Does anybody else have any thoughts, or do we want to jump into cocktails for a little bit?
Those are cocktails.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cocktails.
I'm going to jump into mine. Mine is called the Queen Cocktail because it is Rat Queen's. I also think this might be somehow based on the Queen of England, although I looked up Queen Cocktail and it said what her standard cocktail was all the time, but this is not it.
Dude, that woman is a lush. That's the word.
There you go.
I was getting
You're
there.
a slosh.
Apparently.
Speaking of a slosh, it is 1 part dry vermouth, 1 part gin, 1 part pineapple juice, and 1 part sweet vermouth. You shake the shit out of it with ice and you strain into a cocktail glass. Nice and simple and straightforward to the point. Mr. Adam, what is your cocktail?
So mine is called Goblin Blood. It's 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of San Pellegrino lemon soda, 1 ounce of San Pellegrino lime soda, 1 ounce of ginger beer, preferably the kind that Todd gets, because it's amazing, and then 1 ounce of strawberry syrup.
Not ginger ale?
No. Ginger beer. You add all ingredients except for the strawberry syrup to a shaker filled with ice, and then you stir it. Don't shake it because obviously,
there's a lot of carbonation.
Yeah. And then you add the strawberry syrup to a chilled martini glass, and then you slowly pour in the drink mixture over the back of a spoon to layer on top.
All right.
Nice.
Also, leave out the vodka, and you can have it, Andy. It's just for you. Goblin Blood.
Yeah.
Actually, the recipe I found did not call for vodka. I had to
You had to
switch
booze it up yourself.
And then adjust because you can't put 10 ounces of liquid into a martini glass.
No.
So I had to adjust the recipe.
Get
to
a bigger martini glass.
I've seen so there's a place downtown in Salt Lake called Booze Teak that sells like drinking stuff, and they have like mixers and like bitters and stuff like that. And I think I've seen like a big ass martini glass down there. Wouldn't surprise me if they had it.
Yeah.
And I
I've
love
seen
the
them
fact
before.
that they open at 11-ish.
11. We open 11-ish. It's a booze store.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Mr. Todd, what is your cocktail?
Mine is the actually since it's called the Whiskey Smash, I went and chose this because it's a bunch of hard-living people there. This one it's a quarter. You take a quarter of a lemon. You need 1 ounce simple syrup and 2 ounces of your bourbon or whiskey. So you want to go ahead and get a mixing glass, muddle in the spearmint with the lemon, which I didn't add there. Add ice and all the other ingredients, shake the shit out of it, and you pour in a rocks glass with ice as well. And then you can put a little bit more mint on top.
Apparently Brian's cat loves your drink.
That is actually that was mine. That's Bruce. He's a fan.
No.
Bruce!
I guess
Hi,
wrong.
Bruce! Yeah,
Bruce isn't Bruce Wayne, by the way.
It's good. I like it. I just heard a little brrr, brrr.
To be honest with you, I thought it was the Porg, but so cool. Mr. There's Mr. Porg.
Hi, Porg.
Jason, what's your cocktail?
Mine's actually similar to the Goblin Blood. It's called Blood and Guts. It's 2 ounces of rum, 2 ounces of blackberry brandy, 1 ounce of orange juice, 2 ounces of strawberries or strawberry puree, 1 cup of ice. Put it all in a blender, blend it until smooth, and then drink to your heart's content.
Ooh,
And don't get men to close.
That does sound amazing.
Yeah, blackberry. That'd be good.
Why's it got to be black?
Because blackberry's the best. What, you got a problem with that?
Once you have a blackberry, you'll never go back.
The darker the cherry, the sweeter the...
No, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Yeah.
Wow, where is that from?
Hairspray.
Of course.
Also Friday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Because I can't remember. I think it's like Smokey says it wrong, or Ice Cube says it wrong, or someone says it wrong, and then the other guy goes, "Man, it's the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice."
That's like one of my favorite scenes is when the two old ladies come knocking on his door to talk about Jesus.
Fuck you!
There you go. Using the Lord to sell pussy.
Okay, and Mr. Maya, what is your cocktail?
Well, we're in a fantasy setting, so my drink is called the Claymore. It's 1.5 ounces of Myers dark rum, or let's just say dark rum. 1 ounce of Glava, or if you can't find any, you can use Drambuie instead. 2 ounces of fresh lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, and 2 dashes of orange bitters. Blend all of that with a handful of crushed ice for about 5 to 6 seconds in a blender, and pour it into a chilled glass.
Cool.
Parting thoughts.
Does anybody have any final thoughts before we go into final grades?
No,
not a whole lot. I mean, no, it's good fun, but yeah, let's grade this thing.
It isn't like we said before. This isn't Watchmen. It's not deep.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Final grades.
Well then, for writing for web,
self-contained
or weeb, I'm guessing.
Are we doing writing or self-contained?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I have I literally have a fucking written right in front of me, and I got the wrong thing. Son of a bitch.
That's what we're here for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh.
Self-contained.
For self-contained, what is your grade, Mr. Todd?
You know, I'll go ahead and give it a BB+. I mean, it's the story continues, but the little adventure here kind of has a wrap up to it.
Cool. Mr. Adam?
I'll go with a B+, because like pretty much what Todd said. I mean, the story comes to an end. It leaves us looking to see what happens next, but, this isn't a one-shot, but it did tell its story.
Cool. Mr. Maya?
Yeah, I'm about the same, about a B.
Okay. I will go also with a B, and Mr. Jason?
Also a B.
Writing grade.
Cool. Then for writing, I don't know the first name, but Webb, let's see.
Curtis. Yeah.
J. Weeb or Webb, and Rock Up Church. Oh, never mind. He just did the art.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so for Curtis J. Weeb, what is your grade, Mr. Jason?
I gave it a B+. I do think that he struggled a little bit too much at the beginning, but in the later issues, and especially in Volume 2, I know we're not grading that one, but trying to give it on a bell curve, he does actually separate these characters into what they want, what they are afraid of, how they interact with each other. And personally, I just really liked seeing Betty go up to the elf girl that she's got a crush on, and that just was a very sweet moment for me. So, yeah.
Cool. I'm going to go with also probably a B+ as well. I thought it was fun. Mr. Adam.
I'm going to go with a B+. I had fun with it. Like I said at the beginning, it felt like a D&D campaign sprung to life on the comic book page. But as Maya pointed out, it was like they were just being vulgar to be vulgar, and it did get to a point where it just felt really overused.
Okay. Mr. Maya.
I'm going to give it a C, pretty much for all the reasons that I've already said.
Okay. And Mr. Todd.
It's a B for me. I enjoyed it. It was good fun. I'll be reading the next one, that's for sure. So, but yeah, I give it a B.
Art grade.
Then for art for Rock Up Church, which aside from being an asshole is a cool name, but unfortunately he's an asshole. So assholeness aside, what is your grade, Mr. Adam?
Actually, I'm not going to give a grade on grade, because when it's something where a person's an asshole because they're just a dick, I can overlook that. But with someone who is a domestic abuser or a sexual abuser, I will not comment on their work.
Okay. Mr. Todd.
I'll give it a B.
Mr. Maya.
I'm at a C as well.
I will give it a B. Mr. Jason.
Also a B.
Okay. Then we will go for overall for this volume of Rat Queens.
Final grades.
What is your grade, Mr. Jason?
It's a B.
I'm going to go with, I think a B+, like I liked it pretty well. Mr. Adam, what is your grade?
I'll go with a B+ as well. I mean, it was fun. It was interesting. It was definitely a quick read. It was a lot different than I thought it was going to be. And I do want to read more of it, but this isn't like jumping to the front of the list of what I want to hop on more, so.
Mr. Todd.
It'll be right at a B. Solid B for me. I enjoyed it. It was good fun. Didn't change my life or make me introspective about anything, so Hippy.
Mr. Maya.
I'm gonna stick with a C.
Okay, you're gonna stick with a C. Anything you want to add to that?
Nope. I've already said everything I need to say.
Grade point average.
Okay, so that gives us a GPA of 2.9.
Were you trying to kill time while you were doing math?
Yes.
So now you can
help Maya.
Laughing at you.
Yeah. Thanks for the help, Maya. I really appreciate that.
Hey, at least it wasn't at full max.
So that gives us a GPA of 3.92, which puts us just below a B, pretty much a B minus. I think that's pretty fair with our assessment there.
Yeah. Next week on Funny Books on Firewater.
Cool. So next week we are doing Captain America. Which volume? Is it Stay Fly? No, sorry, Captain Marvel. Yeah, is it Stay Fly? Is that the one we're doing? Here's the problem.
Yes.
It's the Marvel thing where they have 2 volume 1s by Kelly Sue DeConnick, and then what they ended up doing is they also collected them, and so my collection actually is The Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but it has volumes 1 and 2 in it collected.
Give me about 15 more seconds.
No,
okay.
We're gonna let you twist in the wind this time. Wishing we were.
It is Earth's Mightiest. Oh wait, no, that's the big one.
That is the. That's what she said.
In Pursuit of Flight.
Yeah, that's the one.
In Pursuit of Flight. Okay, awesome. I will write that down
It's
so we know
not
that.
the Higher, Further, Faster, More. It's the other one. So yeah, Pursuit of Flight.
Okay.
It's $4 on Kindle.
Oh, nice.
That's really cheap.
There you go.
Just make sure you double check if it's Kindle or Comixology.
Yeah.
Because if it's Kindle, then it's a bullshit format.
Not that Adam has an opinion on that.
Well, actually, you know what? They may have made it better. I haven't looked at it since that one time when I downloaded the one comic that I've been bitching about ever since. So they may have changed it. I haven't looked.
Wasn't that like Batwoman you tried to do or something?
It was like our first year.
Oh, okay.
It was a while back.
Sure.
Okay.
Recommendations.
Jump into recommendations. Anybody have anything that's just jumping off their chest they really want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll do mine.
I've got one.
Uh-oh. You want to fight to the death for it?
Jason, go ahead.
Thank you. Similar to Dungeons and Dragons, even though I've only played that one a couple of times with some friends, more recently I have gotten into a game called Shadowrun Anarchy. Now there's a standard version of Shadowrun, but this one has sort of stripped away a lot of the rules and math that it asks you to do and just allows you to roleplay. It's essentially Dungeons and Dragons in a futuristic cyberpunk world in which there is magic, corporations, bug spirits, lots of tech, and it's a lot of fun.
I actually picked up the basic beginner starter kit for regular Shadowrun, but I haven't had a chance to dive into it yet.
Check out Shadowrun Anarchy, because if you get into the weeds with all the math that Shadowrun requires, Anarchy may be the way to go.
Cool, I'll check it out.
Cool. Mr. Todd.
So I have another graphic novel trade I want to share. It's called Motor Crush. It's an image book. You've got your main character, Domino. By day, she is a motorcycle racer. By night, she beats up gangs.
It is action, adventure, sci-fi, future sports.
Action, adventure, sci-fi, future sports. There we go there. But it's another book, a lot of fun. It's futuristic. There's the tech and stuff involved, but you've got a no-holds-barred woman that just takes no prisoners. It's awesome.
And it is $4.99 on in-stock trades.
There you go.
There's also a Motor Crush DCB exclusive variant for $1.99.
Right.
That was probably for a single issue.
Maybe. Does in-stock trades do single issues?
Discount Comic Book Service, which is their other side, does. That's like doing your pull or hold list through
electronically.
mail order.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you don't have a nearby local comic book shop, you can use them.
Yeah.
Cool.
I got
awesome.
one.
Cool, go for it.
So Todd did his recommendation. He told me since we were doing Women Who Kick Ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do mine using that same logic. This is another book, just because there were too many books that we threw out for this month.
Yeah.
But I'm going to recommend a book called, if you look up the actual trade, there's 2 volumes called JSA Presents Stars and Stripe. And Stripe is like an acronym. It's got the periods in between each letter. It's what introduced Stargirl, who's getting her own TV show on the DC Universe app later this year. She's a fun teenage character. She discovers that her stepdad used to be Stripesy, who was the Golden Age sidekick to Starman back in the 40s and 50s, and she basically gets Starman's rod and becomes like his cosmic rod and becomes a superhero.
You know, that could have been really phallic.
Yeah.
If you made the wrong turn there.
And the character, both the first name and kind of her personality, I if I remember correctly, this was Jeff Johns' first DC work. Or if it wasn't his first, it was one of the first. And the character is loosely based on both first name and her personality based on his sister, who he lost when, was it TWA Flight 800 that like blew up way back in like 96. Yeah. She was on that airplane, and so he basically made her into a comic book.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And see, here I thought you were going to say he was the lead singer of the Christian rock band Striper.
No. God.
Do I need to shame myself?
Yeah.
Go into the corner.
You go stand in the corner and reread Dead Presidents.
And tell us that you love it.
Pure genius.
Just have to revisit that just for a second. Cool. I'm going to stay with the same logic, so I'll go next. After watching Into the Spider-Verse, which I loved and I think is awesome, I've gone back and started trying to recheck out some of the Spider Family, and I picked up the Spider-Gwen Zero trade, which is awesome and super fun. A good entry point. It says that you probably may want to read the Spider-Verse beforehand, but really they sum up everything you need to know in the Zero issue, or the Zero trade, so like I wouldn't even worry about it. If you want to just jump in on Spider-Gwen, if you liked her character from the movie, it's a really good place to start out, and it's super fun. And let's see, Mr. Adam.
So it's been out on Steam for a while. It just came out on Switch. It's a little, it's not really an indie game, it might have been. It's called Hand of Fate, and it's kind of fun because it's basically an RPG where you're telling this story, and there's like this guy who's kind of like the fortune teller sitting across from you, and he's telling you stuff, and then there's a story going on, and there's these like cards dealt out, and when you move to each card, different things happen, like, oh, you went and visited the bazaar, hey, you gotta fight some monsters, and when you go fight the monsters, you fight them kind of like Zelda status, where it's an action RPG, but at the end of every single round, you get all the cards on the table, and then you have to go ahead and pick and choose your hand for the next scenario. So you can pick the bazaar, but when you go to the bazaar, something different might happen. You might be able to shop, you have this new story, you might actually have to stop a thief. But it's kind of like a deck builder, kind of like Magic the Gathering, also mixed with Zelda, also mixed with a really cool storytelling aspect of like D&D. So it kind of goes hand in hand with like the D&D aspect of this book. So
what was it called again?
Hand of Fate 2. Yes. It's only $30. It's on sale right now for when this comes out, it'll be $30 again. But
right,
I got it for actually after a gift card like $2. So
nice. Cool. So I think that'll do it for this week. Next week we're going to be doing Captain Marvel in Pursuit of Flight. It's Kelly Sudikonic's first writing of that. She also did Bitch Planet, which we really liked on this show.
And she liked our drink.
Oh, that's right. She did like our drink.
And she currently just started writing Aquaman at DC.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I bet she didn't write the script of the movie.
And she says she wants to write it like she's imagining like a Led Zeppelin soundtrack to it.
Ooh,
that works.
Nice. I approve. I like Kelly Sudiconic's work quite a bit. She does some cool stuff. But so that's what we'll be doing. So In Pursuit of Flight is the first one. I am sorry for the confusion, because I know it's going to be confusing, because our friend Elena, who is actually reading all the books this month, I had to go find out the exact right book for her.
Hi, Elena.
Hey, Elena.
Hi, Elena.
Hi, Elena.
So anyway, that'll do it for this week. So join us next week, and we will see you on the flip side.
Bye.
So that happened. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. This band of knuckleheads will be back next week with a new episode. Until then, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr as Funny Books and Firewater, and on Twitter as @FirewaterCast. Go to funnybooksandfirewater.com for the most up-to-date information, as well as cocktail recipes from this and past episodes. Thank you for joining us. And until next week, support your local comic shop, tip your bartender well, and stay hydrated.